What's keeping you from scaling from 6 figures to 7 figures in your business is your belief that you're already working so hard, that you're already working at capacity, that if you increase your income, it's going to mean whatever you're dealing with right now is also going to increase. I see this all the time. A lot of women think, well, I'm dealing with overwhelm right now. If I increase my income, the overwhelm will increase. Or I'm dealing with working too many hours or difficult clients, and if I increase my income, that too will increase. And this is not true. It couldn't be further from the truth, because we're not going to be doing the same things that we're doing right now in order to scale. So you need to actually learn to move very differently when you are scaling from 6 figures to 7 figures. So here's how I scaled. This was me 10xing my complete identity and my income. I didn't work harder, I worked differently. And what that meant was, the first thing was I had to stop treating my business as a hobby. And this was a little bit difficult for me because I was having so much fun in my business that it did seem like a hobby. It was like I get to play and then I make all this money and I get to just do what I love. So it is a hobby, like it felt like a hobby. However, I could not treat it like a hobby if I wanted to scale, because I didn't have the back end systems, right? So the first thing I did is I stopped calling it a hobby. And I stopped saying my little business. This is something that a lot of women do, is they treat it like, oh, my little business over here. The language that we use is very important because it's always creating images for our subconscious. And if you're creating images for yourself that this is a hobby, or, this is a small business, and I do want you to have fun in your business. Like, it does get to feel fun. I love that it feels like a hobby, but it generates, 8 figures. Like, that is the goal. However, when we're giving that kind of an energy and those words and images to ourselves, we tend to keep ourselves small, and other people might not also take us seriously. And we want to make sure that we are looking like a business, right? Even though we're having so much fun. Number 2 thing I had to do to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures is I had to build systems that allowed me to sell daily. This was such a mindset shift, because before this, when I was calling it a hobby, it was like, oh, I'll just like go when I feel like it. And that does not create confidence for other people, right? Like, I've actually been on the receiving end of businesses that show up when they feel like it. And it's so frustrating. It's so interesting. We were trying to order something from the other day from one of our favorite restaurants on Uber Eats. And every time we would place the order, they'd cancel it. And then we found out that the owner was like out of town, so he's like completely just shut down his restaurant, right? It's like, you can't really trust. And then now that we want to order, we're like, is he even in town? Like, he does this all the time, by the way. Like, he'll just like shut down his entire restaurant, right? It doesn't create like customer confidence. Even online, I've emailed people. I was talking about this the other day, or I'm trying to buy something and they'll email me back a year later. I've moved on. I've bought something else now, right? It doesn't, when they're treating it like a hobby and they don't have systems in place that allow customers to have confidence to buy daily, how are you supposed to scale to 7 figures when you physically need to be present? If he's like the restaurant guy, if he's going out of town, hire someone, right? Like, this is your business, right? Hire someone to run the restaurant when you're not in town. The woman that I emailed, I shouldn't have to email them. Their links should be available for me to buy. It's a digital product. Why do you need to like email someone physically, right? So what I did is I created systems in my business where it doesn't matter whether I'm out of town, I'm sleeping, I'm playing, I'm watching a movie, whatever I'm doing, sales are coming in because people are finding my YouTube channel, binge watching my content, finding the links in the description, clicking on the links and buying the thing, and it immediately gets delivered. So I've removed myself out of having to do these little things, where it's like, oh, if I'm not present, the business isn't selling, right? Like that. In a digital age, we've got to come out with better systems. And I think it goes back to, you're not going to do this if you're seeing your business as a hobby. You're just not going to do it because it's like, oh, it's like this fun little thing. It's supposed to be fun. It's still, what's really fun watching a movie with my family and having sales coming in, right? Sleeping and having sales coming in, being on a plane on my way to vacation and like sales coming in. So like, yeah, you want to make sure that you are letting the entire thing actually run like a business, having those systems in place. Because consistency really compounds, and consistency isn't me coming online every day, which I do love to do, but at the same time, even when I don't, you can consistently find my content, watch it, and pay me. I make it easy for people on the internet to pay me. That's important. Let people pay you. Okay, the next one is that really shifted me from the 6-figure to 7-figure earner was having a big idea and then becoming a category queen. And what I mean by that is, what do I stand for? I'm actually about to go into voltage and visibility and teach this. We have like a 2-hour workshop on this exact topic. Is what do you stand for? What's the bigger brand mission for your product and services? Because if you can categorize this, if you can get really certain on this, you step into a category queen. So for example, I have over 200 offers, right? I've got over 200 courses and books and all the things. But if you really think about it, there is a big idea, like an umbrella that all of them live under. And the umbrella is that I get to have a full life because that serves my ancestors and it serves my descendants, right? So my big idea is 7 generations back, 7 generations forward, that my life matters, my enjoyment matters, my marriage matters, my business matters, because it changes my generational history and lineage in 2 directions. Now, under that umbrella, I could sell relationship courses, I could sell diet courses, right? Lifestyle, I could sell business courses, money courses, parenting courses. I have all these courses because the big idea is like the big umbrella that I can now have. It's almost like the roots, right? It's like the big foundation, it's the root, and then all of these little offers are branching off from that. So I didn't like niche myself in like, oh, I can only talk about relationships. Now, each of my offers is niched, right? When you buy my relationship course, like, you know, it's about relationships, right? So each offer is niched. But the reason I don't have to be boxed in is because my big idea carries the umbrella. If you think of Nike, right? Like Nike's big idea is kind of like just do it. And so, but under that they have running jackets, they have shoes, they have socks, they have backpacks. So they can, and under that just do it, their big idea, kind of like bringing, like letting the everyday person be an athlete and feel like an athlete, they can have multiple things. So niching down is not necessary when you are really clear on your big idea and you can somehow bridge all of these different things to that big idea. Why can I make relationship content and manifestation content and business content? Because all of that goes to, I get to have a big life. I get to have it all because that serves my ancestors, it serves my descendants. I am the living embodiment of the divine feminine for both of the 7 generations back, 7 generations forward. So do you see that? That makes me a category queen. When you are not the category queen, it makes people price compete. It makes people, for example, if I want to buy this candle, right? It's like lots of people sell candles. So then you start getting into being a commodity where people might be price competing things, but there's only Mina Irfan. Like people that want to work with the category queen of Mina Irfan, there's no comparison, right? I'm the only one that does what I do. And so getting really clear on your big idea is going to be a game changer for you. The next one I want to talk about is being willing to expand your capacity. I often talk about that, people in peasant consciousness or scarcity are managing time, and people in, women in the wealthy woman era are managing their energy. You're going to need to be able to source your own energy. If you can't source your own energy, girl, keep your 9-to-5 job, because let me tell you, it's going to be hard. I have been in business for over a decade. I've had multiple different businesses, just a decade even just in this business. And let me tell you something. The most successful people, or just any amount of success, aren't very emotional. I have never seen a very successful businesswoman that's very emotional. I just haven't. It's just the truth, and no one's gonna tell you that because it's very taboo to tell women you're too emotional. But the truth is, some people need a 9-to-5 job that contains them. When they show up for their interview, when they show up at work, they're somehow able to leave their emotions at the door. But when they show up in their business, they're crying over the littlest things. And it's like, why are you crying over, this was just an offer? Like, it's not, business is not an emotional thing. Yes, it does require all of you, right? Yes, it like completely restructures your identity. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. But it's not really an emotional thing, right? Like, imagine if every time I had to go on YouTube, I was like crying and like losing it. Or if someone like didn't buy my offer, right? I'm like questioning my worth. You don't do that at work, right? You don't do that. You didn't do that at university. You didn't do that in your master's program. But somehow when it comes to business, people can start getting like that. And I've never seen someone that made it in business that was like that. So you're gonna have to learn to realize that your feelings are not facts, and that if you are very emotional about everything when it comes to business, I would keep my job, because your job can contain you. You are required to leave your, like, you cannot cry in business meetings, right? Like at work, you can't cry because Zoom isn't working. Like, you're required to have a certain standard. Well, you're gonna have to keep that standard in your business. You can't be crying about things, little things. Like I, talked about the other day that you need to be willing to be unlucky in the little things to be lucky in the big things. That means that you need to be able to source your own energy. You need to be able to create your state. You can't be overly emotional. I've seen it all being in the industry, like people being emotional over having to change their terms, or the link's not working and they're having a complete crying fit. Someone didn't buy their offer, someone defaulted on a payment plan. Cost of doing business, like these are things that happen. There's remedies for that. You go into like, yes, you get to have like your business plan, you get to have your SOPs, you get to know what to do in those situations. But crying over these little things is gonna hold you back. And I see this over and over again. Business is not for emotional people. It's just not. It's just not. No one's gonna tell you this. I know, because I've had this conversation with my own mentors and so many women in the industry, and people know this. Successful women know this. They're scared to say it because, like I said, it's taboo to be like, why are you crying? It's just a link. It's just one person on the internet. Like, it's not that big of a deal, right? So learn to manage your energy. No one's gonna do it for you. If every little thing throws you off, you're not subconsciously going to allow your business to scale, because you are going to think, oh my God, if I'm having all of these things happen to me at 6 figures, at 7 figures, I'm not gonna be able to handle it. But the truth is that your capacity expands. Just like when you have 1 baby and then you have 2 and 3, it gets easier because your capacity expands. You become someone new, right? Like, you become the person that can now handle 2 kids and 3 kids. You become the person that can scale from 6, 7, 8, 9 all the way. And I want women, feminine huntresses, to get a piece of the pie. Like, we deserve to be in business. We get to share everything we've like learned and earned. Like, we're badasses. We've spent so much time, energy, money on our education, on our skills, on our personal development, on our personal like building ourselves, like physically, emotionally, energetically. Girl, you deserve to be here. So let's stop being emotional about it, and let's show up as a woman in power, women of business, and let's do the damn thing, okay? Something special is coming. I'm gonna link my, right now I'm selling my 2 in-person events. I've got my Addicted to Abundance Houston event happening on January 13th, 14th and 15th, 2026. This is our annual event that we have every year. And what you're going to learn at this event, aside from sisterhood and networking and all, and being in the room, all of that is great. But what you're going to learn is to really learn the energetics and the actual feminine huntress strategy of building and scaling a legacy business that serves your marriage, not takes away from it, serves your marriage. My business has made my union stronger, more robust, better. My business has made my parenting better. It's changed the way that I show up. It's changed the whole person experience. And so the 3-day experience will take you from archaeology, alchemy to architecture, and you're going to leave with a solid plan and the kind of energy and embodiment to be able to go and move through the plan in a way that where, yes, your business should feel like a hobby, but on the back end, it should definitely be a business, okay? So you're gonna get all of the tools, the energetics, the physical stuff, like leave with an entire game plan. This is the stuff that has like taken me 44 years to earn and learn, and over $1 million spent, right? Being in the room with 8-figure, 9-figure creators, business owners, founders, both male and female. I've learned this, applied it, tested it out on tens of thousands of women, and you get to walk away with the entire game plan in 3 days, okay? So I'll put the link for Addicted to Abundance in the description box. This year, I'm 10xing it. We have purposely kept it small. I literally started 8 years ago in my living room, and I like drove them in my car to lunch. Like it was awesome. I love the journey of it. And then we like moved to 10 people and then 20 people and like scaled up. This time I'm not moving linear, I'm 10xing. And so we're getting an event production team. Like it's gonna be, okay, it's gonna be like a whole thing. And I'm super excited. So in 4 days, the early bird for both tiers, the general admission and the VIP. The second thing that I have is my Lakshmi Goddess of Wealth VIP experience, which is happening in April. This is Sheena's birthday intensive, my mother's, that I do every year. And that's happening in Dubai this year, in 2026. And so we have only 40 seats and they are going fast. And so people love celebrating Sheena's birthday. This is going to be to map out the energetics and actual strategy of your $1 million offer, right? Regardless of where you're at, if you're like, you know what, I don't want to take the linear path. I just want to step into the identity of the $1 million woman with the $1 million offer, with the $1 million energy, with the $1 million strategy. That's gonna be your 3 days, and I would love to have you for both if you decide. There are some women that are coming to both, by the way. So that link is also going to be in the description box. And then I have something else that is dropping soon. So if you're on my email list, make sure you keep your eyes peeled. I'm in the preparation of it. That one is not in person. It's a virtual experience. But I would love to have you in the room for the in-person. There's nothing like in-person energy, honestly. I have like 8 or 9 in-person events right now coming up that I'm attending. And there's something that happens nervous system to nervous system. There's something like one idea, one concept, one inspiration, one person you meet could be your next sister-in-law, your next business venture, your next podcast interview, your next 10K client, 20K client. Being in the room, there's nothing like it. And I think sometimes we forget that because the online space is so convenient, but honestly, being in the room is everything. And I'd love to have you there.